on the News Channel 5 network. This is Morning Line with Nick Barris.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Morning Line. I am Nick Barris. It is Thursday. It's wet and rainy outside. Just stay inside and join in the conversation this morning. A good show this morning that, depending on your circumstances, could save you money. And if it won't save you money, you may want to pay attention because it may help save a friend money or a loved one or a relative some money as well when it comes to paying your property taxes. Now, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a locale where the property values have increased faster than here in Metro Davidson County, okay? Boy, some people get their property taxes and, wow, my property's worth more and you have to pay more. The point is, there is relief out there for folks to help make it through this, and we want to get to this now because the deadline for paying your property taxes is February 28th. Now, we're not just talking about Metro Davidson County. I'm going to introduce our guests here in just a moment, but before I do that, I just want you to say, wherever you're watching us, it's a state program and it's administered by the counties. So we have two representatives from Davidson County, but wherever you live, whatever county it is, these same type of relief efforts are in place to maybe help you with your property taxes. And so you're welcome too, if you have questions or comments, to call throughout the show, 737-7587, but I know many of you may just be taking notes on this. So let's get to it. Our guests this morning both are experts on the subject. We have Jessica Davies, she's a deputy trustee and staff attorney. And we have Andrea Vaughn, tax relief specialist. Both of you work for Metro?
We do.
Yes, you both work with Charlie Cardwell?
Yes, sir.
Who is a good man, Metropolitan trustee. I guess what was it? And nice to have you both on. Thanks for coming on.
Nice to be here.
You guys are here to help folks, I know that. The property tax, billings went out, was it last October, November?
October.
Okay, so at that point, and you were telling me before the show, those come out. People get those, and a lot of people pay in different ways, right?
Right.
Some people paid right off the bat. What are the options, and where do we stand now?
You can pay your taxes as soon as you get your bill.
All right.
If you're afraid you might forget.
Yeah.
If it's easier to pay in installments, we have 5 months before the deadline, and so you can pay, once a month and pay 5 payments.
Just make it through there, sure.
Right, or you can wait until February 28th.
Like some people do on tax day and wait till the last second and pay all at once. But the bottom line is February 28th is the deadline. And let's just, for some people maybe struggling, and this is whether you need relief or not, if you haven't paid your property taxes, if you missed that February 28th deadline, when does the hammer come down?
March 1st.
And what does that mean? What is the hammer?
Well, so on March 1st, we have interest of 1.5% that gets added.
Starts accruing every day.
Starts accruing, monthly, on the first of each month. 1.5% on any balance remaining. So maybe you paid some of it, but not all of it. Then the balance remaining gets 1.5% interest, and then that's monthly for the next year. So March, the following March, when it's been delinquent for a year, is when I guess you would say the real hammer comes down.
Well, that's when, ultimately, and I'm sure this very rarely happens, if someone just doesn't pay their property taxes, eventually you can take their house.
Exactly.
Okay, now that's an extreme, and that comes over a period of time and under unusual circumstances, I would imagine.
Right.
But that's why you pay your property taxes for good reason. We all know how important that revenue stream is to everything. All right, so where we stand right now is a lot of folks, can you say, how many people were surprised, you think, at the value of the property when they got it back?
A lot where they just...
They're like, wow, my property's worth that much, which at first you're excited, and then you're like, wait a second. Now we should say, the property taxes, how much you have to pay is increased, but the rate actually went down in some, right?
Right.
To try to balance it out, because you knew that was going to happen, or you'd really hammer people, right?
Right. So Metro can't make an increase in revenue from reappraisal alone.
Right.
So they have to equalize the rate. So if property values go up, the rates go down.
Okay.
Now, it's different across the county. So some people still see an increase even with the rate going down, but not everyone. Again, it's equalized to keep the revenue totals the same.
Okay. So do you have any guesstimate based? By the way, the appraisals come every how many years?
4 years.
4 years. So just based maybe in the past, what percentage of folks at this stage in the game are maybe in need of some relief? Do you have any idea? We're talking hundreds, thousands? Statewide, I'm sure there's thousands, but Metro?
Well, we have currently about 6,500 on tax relief, 3,100 on freeze.
Okay. So you got numbers on that.
So, you're looking at over 9,000 currently on the program.
Yeah.
to give you an idea of how many, you know, already qualify, but how many are out there who don't or don't know about it,
hard to tell.
And maybe need it. You know, we're not sure.
All right, well, that's what we'll get into, all aspects. And if you have questions, obviously the two of them can answer it with regard to property taxes. But all right, and the phone line's open if you want to jump in now, but let's talk about the groups that can qualify for relief and what's out there. Go ahead and hit it. Obviously 65 and older, elderly folks.
Right, so we have elderly, 65 and older. We have disabled, no age requirement for the disabled as long as you're listed disabled by Social Security.
Social Security. And
then disabled veterans.
Okay, who have a service-connected disability.
That's correct.
All right, and then the income levels, I guess I was looking for elderly or disabled homeowners, was it 29,180?
Right,
Yes.
that's for tax relief. And then tax freeze is 41,660, but that's for
65 and older only.
65 and older. Elderly is the only category for freeze.
What does that mean, tax freeze?
So that does keep your taxes from ever going up. So in the event of a reappraisal, like we just experienced, if your taxes were to go up due to a reappraisal,
You'd be frozen from the last 4 years ago?
That's correct.
Oh, okay, so that would be a freeze. As far as the 29,180, what type of relief? When we're not talking about a freeze, which is one form of relief, the other relief is what? They only have to pay a percentage of their property tax?
Right, so if you qualify for tax relief, the state and Metro will give a certain amount, depending on which tax district you're in, to help towards your taxes. And then the different categories, so elderly and disabled get a certain amount, and then the disabled veterans get a different amount. And so that actually helps you pay your taxes.
Okay, so like, can you give me, just before we go to the break so folks can give me a scenario of maybe an individual you've dealt with, not using their name, of how they came to you and how the relief played out or how much they were able to get helped. Give me an example of someone.
Well, we just have the elderly that come in that they're like, I didn't buy my medicine this month because I needed to pay my property taxes.
Good example. Okay.
So then you tell them, well, you're going to get X amount of dollars off depending on what area you live in, 700 or 611 off of your taxes, and they just start crying. And
I can imagine. So the relief is not where that means you don't have to pay, but if they qualify then, so if, let's say one of these elderly individuals comes in and they're in that situation, guess I just can't make it now, and let's say they owe, what, $2,000, is that reasonable? Okay, so if they come in and owe $2,000 and qualify,
right,
what can you do for them?
Well, if they live in the urban area, they get a total of $700.64,
which means
off of their
they
taxes.
would then pay about $1,300.
Right, the state and Metro pay that portion of it.
So maybe a third of it or more, perhaps,
right,
is something that is forgiven. And that's just a one-time thing. 4 years from now, they'll have to go through it again, right?
No, sir.
Oh, no? It's locked in. They'll get that every time, unless their financial setting changes?
That's right. They have to so once you're on the program, we will send you a renewal voucher.
Oh, okay.
So instead of getting your tax bill in October, you'll get a renewal voucher where you sign off with your income and return it, and you would continue to get the assistance as long as you own the property and live there as your primary residence and meet the income requirement. So you can get it year after year. Now the amount that you would get might change from year to year, but it's going to stay probably
in that
ballpark in that realm.
In that realm, and so you can continue to get it year after year.
Good. All right, listen, let's take a break. When we come back, we can take some calls. Brian and others, if you want to call in. Brian was on hold. The number is 737-7587. I'm curious, too, if there's some of you out there that have actually gone through the program, how it's worked out. Or I'd just like to hear from some of you. What did your property tax tell you, and did it give you sticker shock? You know, and I know a lot of people did. They're here to try to help on that. So there's much more to talk about on this. We'll continue our conversation with how you can get help on your property taxes right after this. Great job.